Hi, Rachel. Hi, Rachel. How are you? Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Julie Gilbert here from Oregon Weight and Wellness, along with Rachel Matthews, Whole Life Health and Wellness. Yay!
Yeah.
And Rachel, we're on week 2. We're like deep into week 2 of heat.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yes. Like hundreds heat. Like not, 89. We're up there. We're late 90s and early hundreds. Yeah.
So true confessions. I'm only out in the very early morning or the very late. Like yesterday, I didn't go do any kind of walking until 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't been doing any of our evening after dinner walks either because I don't, it's just, I get it all done. Like you said, I've been going early in the morning and I'm just done. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
So I hope people are getting it done. I know we canceled our Tuesday walk in the park together because it was going to be 103. But here's the cool thing. Here's what I love. And I want to encourage people who've been thinking about the Tuesday walk. There are 3 other gals who are ongoing committed. They walk with me almost every single, they don't miss a day. When I'm not there, they walk together without me. That's how committed this group is. And so we canceled it. And I said, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold you 3 accountable. We all have to get our workout done this morning before it gets too hot. And I want to see you send me pictures. All 3 of them, including myself, got out there and got our exercise done. We pounded the pavement. One girl got lost and she walked for an hour instead of 30 minutes. Okay. That sucked, but it was maybe meant to be. And they all sent pictures and it kept them accountable. So I think that that's going to tie into something we're talking about today.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah. And it is really wise not to be out in the heat of the day, because of the risk of heat stroke and heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
So it's good that was canceled, and it's good that we have an alternative.
Yeah. You just got to adjust things a little bit and get it in the morning or late at night.
Right. And then there are those of us who have indoor machines. Yeah.
Yep.
And
which is a great resource.
Great resource. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay. We are continuing our conversation, Eat, Move, Sleep. And Rachel, we're on chapter 17, I think.
Chapter 17 it is. Yes.
Yeah.
So first part of chapter 17, he calls it creating barrier labels. He basically describes labeling or putting, like, in the same way that a social pressure, he compares it to littering. 40 years ago, littering was not as big of a deal and people did it. But now we're savvy about junk being thrown around and recycling, and people kind of look down at you. If you were to throw a pop bottle out your window or something, you're not drinking pop, water bottle out your window. Someone's going to pull you over and be like, bro, don't throw that outside, recycle it or put it in the garbage, right? There's a social pressure. Okay.
Right.
He's describing how the social pressures work for us to make positive change. And in the same way, we can label some of the foods that we eat that are, I hate to call foods bad.
Right.
I don't want to say that there's bad foods, but there are definitely foods that harm and they don't heal.
Right. Exactly, Rachel. And I love that he pointed out that, we're not going to vilify people who carry extra weight.
Right.
However, we do, I'm going to say and we're not going to vilify that. And we do want to be realistic and truthful to ourselves about the foods and how they impact our health.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes. Like the honesty and truth about it. There's what is this food that I'm eating? Is it harmful or healing? And call it what it is. If you're going to eat it, like we talked about a lot, if you're going to eat it, choose it, own it. Don't feel guilty about it because you're choosing it, but be truthful about it and call it what it is.
Right.
So he calls lollipops sugar sticks.
Yeah.
Right. To really kind of say what it is. I'm eating sugar on a stick is what I'm really doing here.
Right. And so, for example, when I was making some changes, I'm still improving. I'm still have room to improve. I'm not nirvana, I'm not there yet. But when I was making some changes, I had to look at processed grain and call it sugar, because that's exactly what it turned into once it touched not just got into my stomach, but once it touched my tongue, that cracker, that cereal, that pasta, that French fried potato, that that tortilla, that noodle, that bagel. I had to look at it and see sugar written across it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, you no longer see what once could be even called a healthy bagel, right? Like, oh, it's a healthy bagel. No, you're giving it a truer name, and a name that's helping you choose wisely and avoid when you want to, so that you're not fooling yourself.
Right.
Yeah. I have a phrase that I use similar to that. Foods that I don't want in my body regularly, foods that I don't believe are healthful or healing for me. I call it garbage food. And I don't know why I call it this. It's not a nice name, but it really helps me. And so there are categories of the grocery store that are the garbage aisles. And as I'm going down like garbage aisle, oh, that's what I want. And garbage food. Spices. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
And
that's great.
It's my mindset. Sometimes, every once in a while, I eat garbage food. I know I do. And but I do call it what it is. I'm eating garbage food right now. And it's kind of like, okay, how worth it is this?
Yes.
But I'm not fooling myself, and it's really a lot easier to avoid it, because it's blinders too, right? Like, this. I don't have to, look at all this other stuff.
Right. Exactly. Very good. And once upon a time, I drank Diet Coke like it was going out of style. I mean, 72 ounces a day. I loved it.
Wow.
Give me the can. Don't give me a bottle. I don't want a fountain drink. I need can right out of the fridge, that has it's trickling down. Yeah.
You had the whole thing.
Love it.
Whole thing.
I had to, for myself, this for me, I had to call that poison.
Yeah.
And I know that we're not into good and bad and everything. I understand. But for me, because of what it was doing to me, I had to call it poison. And you know what? That really helped me. It helped me.
I think the difference here, I think what we're really pointing out is that someone else didn't say to you, that's poison, Julie. You're drinking poison, stop drinking poison. Because that would have been like, oh, yeah? Well, watch me drink my poison. The minute someone else calls you out, you're like, oh no, you didn't. I'm going to drink my poison now in front of you, right? Just to prove a point. But no, you called it that yourself.
That's true.
That's the key difference.
Excellent.
I'm free to call food bad if I want to, if it serves me, and if it works. And but we're not in the business of judging other people's foods and calling it. This is a self decision that each person's got to come to. What are those foods? What do you want to call them? What's going to help? I love that. I love that idea.
Rachel, you may not be in that business, but I'm afraid I might have fallen into that business.
Well, it's not that I've never done it before, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but I know.
Thank you for doing that. I'm saying that helps me actually in future conversations. That's poison. No, I don't go around. That's poison, and that's poison, and that's poison.
Like Oprah, poison for you and poison for you. Yeah. Yeah. It is hard though, because when we've come a certain way with something, like for you, soda now feels like poison, and you've labeled it that, and you know what it did to you. It had a grip over you and a health damaging effect. And so you don't want that for others. And so you're, in our best effort, we're trying to help and heal and protect. And it's, but you had to arrive to that on your own.
It's true. Yeah. It's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah. All right. What's his next point?
All right. Next point is organics. Organic does not equal healthy.
Love this.
Such a good point. Such a good point. Tell us a little bit more about why that is.
Well, we like labels. Marketers, food marketing people like labels because they know that people are drawn to them, and they equate organic with healthy when if it's processed, if all the fiber's been stripped out of it, I don't care if it's organic or run of the mill, regular. I mean, it's processed is processed. Yeah.
Right. Right. So if we're talking about organic Fruit Loops, don't save your money. Just buy regular Fruit Loops. No different. No different.
Just a little more expensive. just a little more expensive.
Yeah, a little bit more expensive. And I think that food labelers are starting to put organic on everything. I mean, I'm seeing it all over junk food, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what? And it's misleading people, and I like that he actually pointed out the label of fair trade. So fair trade is this idea that the food was gotten in a fair way with the people who grew it. Specifically, like chocolate is a good example. It does not make the chocolate healthier. It does not make the chocolate less sugary or whatever,
Right.
So it's a good label, and it's an important label. But if you're buying processed junk food, it's still processed junk food. It doesn't make it fewer calories or less fat or less, harmful fats or it's processed, but they made it with some organic materials. It doesn't,
So to that end, you really have to ignore the pretty packaging and all on the front, and you have to turn the package over and really read not just the nutrition facts, but also the ingredients.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it is a skill to be learned. Don't shy away from it. Don't get afraid. Take it one step at a time, learn one aspect of the nutrition label and start to follow it and read it and then add to it. There's a lot of information back there. But if you get afraid and you feel intimidated by it, you won't see what's really there.
Right.
I really want to encourage people to be empowered by the label and read it and understand it, because
exactly. And we love teaching about reading labels.
Yes. And there are so many tricks and hacks and mathematical equations. A quick little mathematical equation you can do to really figure out, where does this really land? When it says this, what is it really saying? And food labels are changing all the time. They're constantly tweaking them. So that makes it hard. You got to stay up on it.
Yeah, that's right. Very true. Very true.
It's a job.
Okay. Then his third point. What's his third point?
Third point is to go public with a goal. To achieve a goal, he says, share it with someone who cares. And he says that when trying to lose weight, success is contagious. So being out there, being in an accountability group or a friend group, or like, for instance, the walking group, it was like a challenge, right? And suddenly everybody in the group wants to be successful, and they know that they can do it. They know it's an achievable goal, and it's encouraging and exciting to know. And the first person who posted that they walked, now suddenly, oh shoot, she did it. Oh, I need to get out. Right. It's exciting. It's contagious.
Right.
That person had success. I can have success.
Yeah.
But the only way this will hold you accountable is if you put yourself out there with at least one other person. You don't have to go public on Facebook, though he talked about it being pretty helpful.
Yeah, that's interesting, because, we try to understand people's tendencies, right? That Gretchen Rubin had that book, 4 Tendencies. I really appreciate that. And so I think most people are either rule followers or obligers, so that when they make a public announcement, or when they get some accountability, it's so beneficial. Then you have those questioners and the rebels.
Yep. Who may not, the rebel, it may not work as well for.
Yeah, it may not work as well for the rebel. Yeah, even the questioner could get on board with accountability. And that questioner may not need 100 people to be accountable to. Maybe it's that one person. Right. And even with the autonomy just might need their own self to be the accountability partner, and likely they can tap into that autonomy. Right, but it's setting it up, right? It is setting it up, because it is making yourself accountable to yourself or to somebody else. And that's the key. Accountability is key.
Accountability is key. It really is. And I know that it can tend to have a negative connotation, because it feels like someone's, did you do your walk today? But it doesn't have to look like that. And truthfully, it doesn't usually. Exactly.
And to your point right there, Rachel, sometimes it's a different person, for example, than your spouse. It could be your spouse. It could be. And for another person close to you. Sometimes in some situations, it works better for maybe a less subjective, a less closer person. What's a better word for that? Someone that's going to be more neutral.
Yep. More of an acquaintance, somebody who doesn't have a lot of skin in your game.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it works better for that kind of person. So there's we don't get emotional about it. Or I thought you said you were going to XYZ, you know?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also remember that accountability doesn't always have to be like, hey, will you make sure I do my thing tomorrow and then ask me about it? Sometimes it's just the people, like he even says this, surround yourself with people who have similar goals. So right. I mean, I tend to be more on the questioner and autonomy side of things.
Right.
I tend to, but I think that I have so many people in my life who are role models and who are my accountability partners, and they have no idea.
Right.
They have no idea. And I'm like, what? Oh, that's what you're doing? Huh, okay. Well, I'm going to do it. And I don't tell them, and I don't ask them for help, and I don't let them know if I've done it or not. I'm not one to say, well, I did it. It's more of just like, oh, what are you doing? Interesting. So we can have all these role models and mentors who are silent partners in your game, but are so valuable.
Yes.
If that's true, then you got to follow them. You got to listen to them. You got to watch them. Wherever you find these people, you got to stay. The piece of accountability is just like if you were to meet a walking group every Tuesday, I'm going to listen to this person to gain the accountability that I need from them, to feel the inspiration and to feel motivated by that.
That's so good. That's so good. Because in the end, that's what it's all about, is for you to feel motivated to keep doing the thing that is keeping you healthier. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And you got to tap into what it is that makes you feel that way. But I love that he says, surround yourself with people. It's so helpful if you surround yourself with people who have similar health goals. And he even says that the brain, they did an MRI scan, and the brain places more value on winning when you're in a social setting than it does when you are alone. So, and again, what that social setting means can be something different for each person.
Exactly. It can be different from the rule follower, the obliger, or the autonomous. Yeah. Very good. That's so good. That's so good. Yeah. So, awesome. All right. These are great points. Great strategies. Good kind of mind, shifts, maybe mindset shifts. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a tweak in the mindset, a new hack, so you can start today by either starting to rename some foods or some items, rename an area of your grocery store, give it a name, and make it entertaining and playful.
Right. It's got to be fun, right?
It's got to be fun. It's got to be zesty.
This is not about, beating yourself, right?
No. And it can't be like that. It's not sustainable. Yeah. We gotta invite zest into our journey. And, I don't know if you remember Garbage Pail Kids back in the day. It was a thing when I was a kid, like trading cards, these little Cabbage Patch Kids that look like little garbage kids. And so I'm not kidding. When I picture my garbage food at the grocery store, I picture little like Garbage Pail Kids, like rummaging through all the garbage, and they're like got buckets and they've got all this like junk. I mean, it's weird, I know, but it works. It works. It's a play on my childhood, and it's fun.
Right. Also, you're keeping it light. You're keeping it. Yeah, that's great.
So take something from today. I encourage you to take something from today and make an action step with it. Right. Name your food. Get an accountability partner or design an accountability system that works for you. And then take a closer look at your organic foods and see what.
Yeah, is that for real? Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Well, okay, Rachel. It is so hot outside. What foods cool you down?
Oh my gosh. So we had a planted potluck last Saturday, and I made a tuna salad with chickpeas and palm hearts and beans and all sorts of stuff. And it was cool and chilled, and no cooking was involved. So we ate off of that for several days. That cooled me off. We have a watermelon in the fridge cut up into little pieces. That cools me off. But we're staying away from the cooking as much as possible.
Yeah, so that's great. And we're doing we are having some people over tonight. So I am doing my base salad kind of, so a lot of chopping there. And what makes me feel cool. So I was thinking of doing like a what do you call that? Caprese salad also. So it's got the tomatoes from the garden and the basil, which got baked, by the way, outside.
Oh, boo.
Boo. So I'm going to buy some, but anyway, that's okay. And then some, what, don't you put some vinegar on that or balsamic or something like that?
Balsamic vinegar, yep. A balsamic glaze is really good. But you could do regular balsamic with a little olive oil or, you know, and then usually some mozzarella cheese, fresh cheese is what people put.
Yes, yeah.
But you don't have to.
Yeah, and then I'm going to do pesto and toss that lightly with the little chopped tomato and chopped onion and with some zucchini zoodles, you know. So I'm going to do a zucchini noodle pesto thing.
Oh, that sounds really good. So zoodle up your zucchini and that's your pasta, but it's a cold pasta salad.
Right. Yes.
Now, are you going to blanch the pasta, the pasta at all, or no? Just
I don't think so. I don't think so. I've never, you know, when I do, so I don't know. I might try it. That's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah. But we know that we can eat zucchini raw.
Yeah.
And why not just try it? And with the sauces on it, it'll infuse that a little bit. Oh, my zucchini's not in yet, but that's a great idea. I've never made a zoodle cold salad with it before.
Right. So I'm gonna try it. Well, I haven't done it yet either. So we'll see.
That sounds so good.
All right. I'm excited about it though.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. It's
delicious.
All right. Well, it's been a great conversation as usual.
Yes.
And well, until next time, stay cool, people. Drink that water.
Drink the water, stay cool. Get a hold of us if you have questions about continuing your health journey and getting on board with some of this stuff. Or if you want to start reading along with us, Eat, Move, Sleep with Tom Rath. It's a great book. Yeah. It's one of those books that you can do a chapter in like a minute and a half. Right. And, you know, quick, easy.
My kind of book.
Kind of book. Yeah.
All right. See you, everybody.
All right, everybody. See you later.